Hello everyone and welcome to Bourbon Bites Whiskey Reviews with an 80s twist. I'm your host Clifton and welcome to another Thursday night live stream. Happy Thursday? I don't know where I was going with that. Happy almost weekend. That's a lot better. Hope you guys are having a great week so far. Hopefully you enjoyed my podcast episode that came out earlier today. I'm enjoying releasing those on Thursday mornings and then talking about them a little bit on the streams after. So if you haven't listened, no worries at all. But good to see you here for the live stream or the replay. So if you notice, the setup's a little bit different. I'm testing something out right now. I'm going to change between two video qualities tonight, and you're going to tell me which one you prefer. And then we'll do that moving forward because StreamYard is starting to get a bit frustrating with how much it compresses the video. I think maybe some of you can tell, but I feel like this looks quite a bit better than it normally looks during these streams. So there's a chat on your shoulder. Yeah, I meant to actually put that right there. There we go. A little bit better. But yeah, so right now I'm streaming at 1440p, which is a little step up. But we're also going to try 1080p at 60 frames per second in just a little bit. And you guys are going to tell me which one you prefer. So just trying to test out some new things, try some new ways to make the quality of these streams a little bit better. At least that's my goal. But either way, as long as you guys are enjoying it, I'm happy as well. So tonight we are doing a really fun stream brought to you by none other than Michael, who is here in the chat. Michael is one of our Bite Club members and supporters of the channel. He sent me a flight of Redwood Empire whiskeys. I've had some Redwood Empire in the past, but it's been a few years since I've had any of their recent releases. So all four of these are brand new to me. I've not tried them before, so it's going to be a real first impression stream of Redwood Empire. Now, of course, this is a California-based distillery. They started out doing some sourcing, but now they're putting out their own distillate. All of these are their own distillate. We have a high rye bourbon, a wheated bourbon, a rye whiskey, and a single malt. So I'm really excited to see how they've been doing. Because like I said, it's been quite a few years since I've tried them. Curious for the chat. One, have you had Redwood Empire? And two, what are you drinking right now? Because if you have it and you're drinking it, let me know. Do want to say hello to some folks in the chat, of course. Now, one thing is I can't click on comments, which is a little frustrating, but we're going to try to roll with it. Michael says, good evening, all you wonderful whiskey people. Yes, good evening to you as well. Tony's here. He said, my devil's tower is screaming for Van Dussel's Burl. Whatever you say, Tony. I see what you did there. Doug is in the chat. What's up? Taste and Sensibility. Emily's here as well. Good to see you, Emily. Hope you are doing fantastic. I'm realizing it's not letting me scroll. This is annoying. Okay, hold on. There we go. Donner Fast Whiskey in the chat. Happy My Friday. Cheers, Clifton and everyone. Cheers to you. Yes, it's basically, I do have to work tomorrow, but I always think of Thursdays as like my Friday, because Fridays are usually I don't know if they're just chill or I just go into them in a better mood. Maybe because these streams and these hangouts make me feel energized and happy afterwards. But yeah, I don't know. I enjoy Fridays, actually. I consider them a good part of the weekend. Thursdays, I only start enjoying it right now. So you guys are part of that. Zopher's here in the chat. What's up, Alfonso? Good to see you in the chat. Jeffrey Wack. Okay, well, so if you guys don't know, I am competing in Map Madness this year. Tomorrow night, I'm going head-to-head against Jeffrey Wack from Hello Again Whiskey Friends. Should be a fun time. My samples did arrive today, so I'm very, very excited to do that. If you don't know, Map Madness is a competition that happens over on ADHD Whiskey's channel. Just search Map Madness. You'll find the videos. It should be a fun fight. This is the quarterfinals, so I'm excited to make it this far into the competition this year. Hopefully, I continue to do at least decent. Even if I don't win, I just want to do decent, you know? Let's see what y'all are drinking. Michael is about to pour the Redwood Empire Haystack Needle Single Barrel. Nice. And then Doug he's sipping a Dad's Hat Rye Bottle and Bond from 2012. Awesome. Well, those sound great. I hate that I can't click in this chat thingy. Maybe if I click live chat, it'll let me do it. There we go. Oh, there's comments hiding that I couldn't see. Okay. Jeffrey said always lurking. Yes, I appreciate the lurkers. Donner Pass opened a Lismore 18, undisclosed Glenfarclas, that K&L has on sale for $43. Okay. Let me know how it is. You know, I'm a very regular customer of K&L Wine and Spirits, especially their Culver City location. So, but yeah, I'm going to go ahead and get these poured, and we're going to taste through them. Now, I wanted to ask you guys, should I start with the wheated bourbon or the high rye bourbon. Because we're going to go into a rye whiskey and a single malt later, so I want to make sure I get the order right for what you guys think is the best experience. I always have to enunciate wheated because I've noticed when I've been doing my podcast, the captions come up as weeded, like Weeded. We're not doing those kind of whiskeys. We are doing wheated whiskeys, even though we are in California. You know, you never know. Maybe the future of whiskey. Tony says he has Finger Lakes Distilling Empire Rye. Nice, cool. Yeah. Emily says, have you heard of the Dad's Hat Port? Oh, that sounds good though. I've not had that. By the way, sorry if I sound a little, I almost said stuffy. I think I'm coming down with a bit of a cold, unfortunately. I've been doing well about not getting sick lately, but yeah, something finally caught up with me. Hoping to get over it. I'm going to Las Vegas next weekend, not this coming weekend. So I'm hoping I'm over it by then, but please forgive me if I'm sounding a little congested. It's probably going to be awful. I'm going to use that as my excuse for Matt Madness tomorrow. If I fail, it's 100% because I'm sick. That's the only reason I failed. Otherwise, I would have beat Jeffrey's ass. Just kidding. But I know I sound like nasty, so we're gonna get into it. I can still smell, I can still taste. So that's all I ask for, right? Because I've been through one of those sicknesses where you cannot smell or taste, and they are not fun. All right, so Snuffy is on Perry's. I know, I realized I almost said Snuffy. Well, if you don't have a preference, I'll start with the lowest proof one, which is the wheated bourbon. This one is called Screaming Titan. It is a 5-year-old wheated bourbon at 48% ABV. So I'm going to pull up their website. By the way, their website has all of their releases listed out, which is fantastic. It's so easy to find details on the bottles you're drinking. So this is batch number 2 of the Screaming Titan. It scored a 94 points at the Tasting Panel magazine. It is part of their small lot series. So a small lot series allows us to continue our spirit of experimentation by applying our hard-won house style to products with a specific focus. This wheated bourbon whiskey is a league of its own. All right, so there's only 198 barrels of this released. The proof is 96 proof, which I think, yeah, that adds up. Do the math a little bit. And the mash bill is 4% malt, 5% rye, 61% corn, and 30% wheat. So we're talking about a 4-grain bourbon here. There's a little label on it if you guys are curious. And if you saw the thumbnail, you saw the art of the bottle. So I don't have the bottle, but I'm very grateful to have a sample of it. Matthew Parks in the chat. Cheers, Matthew. Good to see you. Sipping on some Lost Monarch before I move on to the Devil's Tower. Nice. Well, Devil's Tower is going to be my next one after this one, but glad to hear that. Michael said, always prepare to sick call a few days before you need to call in. Well, I noticed I started to feel a little bit of a scratchy throat yesterday, but I'm like, it could be allergies, whatever. Today, I'm like, I still went into work, but I left like at lunch. I'm like, yeah, this is definitely something more than allergies. So hopefully I was not around enough people to infect anyone, but definitely going to be home from work tomorrow and probably the first part of next week unless I get better. I have a weird habit of like having these like 48-hour colds that are like awful for a good 48 hours and then they completely go away. So I don't know. I'm hoping this is one of those, but I don't know. We're gonna stick through it. All right, I'm gonna pour the Screaming Titan 5-year. Now this does say 5-year on the label. I'm looking at the bottle here itself. I don't see it have an age statement on it. Michael, do you know where the 5-year age statement came from? Is it on the bottle itself? I'm just not seeing it on their website. I'm not seeing any kind of age statement. I'm seeing the mash bill for sure. I'm seeing it is a toasted and char number 3 barrel. But yeah, I don't see a age statement. So curious. But while we wait on that, let's go ahead and give it a nose. Okay. Not too crazy, which I know I've always said about wheated bourbons is, to me, they aren't crazy on the nose. They don't like blow you away. It's really when you get into the palate that it really starts to, you can pull out the flavors quite a bit more once you're into the palate. News about whiskeys here. Cheers. What's everyone sipping on tonight? I am sipping on some Redwood Empire, but let me know what you guys are sipping on. Tony says, I recognize that label. Oh yeah. The art in all these bottles are gorgeous and their environmental philanthropy is great. Planting trees for every bottle sold. Agreed. I saw at the bottom of their website, they have a counter that says they've planted over 1.8 million trees, which is awesome. Brandon's here. Sorry I'm late. No worries. Loving the new format. Thank you. Hopefully it looks a little bit better. We're gonna try doing a little switcheroo about halfway through, and then you guys are gonna let me know if it's better or worse. Is what I'm thinking. We'll see how it goes. But I do miss being able to feature comments. That's a feature that I just hate to give up on from StreamYard. But I'm not seeing that ability on the current software I'm using. I'm seeing so many other options. I can see your chats. I even have the little chat bubble right here, but I can't do anything with it. Independent Joe's in the chat. Cheers all. Good luck tomorrow, Clifton. Rooting for you. Oh, thank you, Joe. Hope you were doing well. Good to see you in the chat. I'm having to constantly manually refresh chat on mine. It's not like doing it, but it's okay. But cheers, Joe. Y'all go check out Independent Joe's channel. Michael said it's on the back of the label. It says age at least 5 years. Awesome. Thank you for that. Yeah, I just didn't see it on the front. Matthew says, fun fact, Redwood Empire Rye tastes amazing in an old fashioned. Oh, man. I bet. I'm sure. I haven't had their ryes. I mean, if I've had it, it's been an early batch, but we're going to get to one tonight. We have a rye coming up down the lineup. Yeah, the nose, I really can't pull too much, and I always say this about weeded bourbons. It's so difficult for me to pull out specific flavors. It does smell good, and I am getting the fact that there is a there is a whiskey in the glass. It's definitely reading like a bourbon or a wheat whiskey. It's very light, very just not overstaying its welcome, I guess. Where some of these, they're busting out of the glass, which I love normally. This one's kind of definitely more subtle in the nose, so maybe it's good we started on this one. I think I made a good call. All right, let's go ahead and try the Screaming Titan. Cheers, y'all. Okay. There's a bit of a quality that I've associated with some craft whiskeys before, but it's almost like a I'm getting like two different notes here, and they're both I associate with craft whiskeys. One is a bit of like a dry hay, like in a barn. Not like people say barnyard note, that means a lot of different things, but to me, I'm thinking more of like you just kind of like let hay dry out and you feed it to the horses. But there's a bit of a tea note too. I've been getting tea a lot more recently on some bourbons, where it has almost a black tea quality to it. Or even sweet tea specifically, with this is a sweeter bourbon. I think with it being around 5 years old, that kind of makes sense, right? But it's a bit of a sweet tea note and a little bit of hay. Let me go for another taste. Yeah, still tea forward. The on second sip, the hay isn't as drying as I kind of originally thought. To me, it's almost coming a little bit in between hay and like, it's not quite fresh cut grass, because that's a specific note I get on some rye whiskeys, but it is more of like more like a field. I don't know, we're just sticking to the land here, but it's like a field of dry grass. Take that for what you will. But it's a typical note I get on a weeded bourbon. I think, to me, they don't stand out as spicy. They don't stand out as overly complex. They always just have a nice mellow quality to them. Sometimes it's more bread forward, sometimes it's grain forward. This one's definitely leaning more into grain forwardness, but it does have a nice kind of tea backbone that I like. I grew up in the South, so I'm a big fan of sweet tea, iced tea, whatever you do. I just really love it. Fact number 2, Matthew says, each Redwood Empire bottle is dedicated to a real redwood tree, which they affectionately renamed for the bottle marketing. Yes. Some of these names are weird. You're going to hear some weird ones tonight. But yeah, they are named after trees, which is awesome. I think it makes you wonder, are the trees still there? Because like I could just see myself, or Whiskey Mountains, Adriana, going to the Redwood National Forest and pulling up to every tree and drinking its whiskey at the tree. That would be really cool if it's allowed. There's some weird rules about national parks and drinking, but as long as you're respecting nature, I don't see any problem with it personally. Yeah, I like that. I'm gonna come back to it again. It's the first whiskey I'm drinking tonight. It is 48%, so it's the lower proof of the bourbons. I like it. I just think wheated bourbons to me are not my favorite. I will say there are some exceptions, including this new Larceny barrel proof that just came in the mail yesterday. This is the newest batch, the B525. I'm saving this for another review. I might review it on the podcast next week. But yeah, I've had a couple sips of this one. I've been really enjoying it. But again, it's coming in at 117.4 proof. So quite a bit different. And of course, this week's podcast episode, I reviewed the Maker's Mark Keeper's release. This is the 2025 Wood Finishing Series, another wheated bourbon. Really enjoyed this. It had a very strong note that I think is controversial. I think some people may not like it. I tend to like the note, but you're gonna have to listen to the podcast to find that. You can find the Bourbon Bites podcast wherever you get your podcasts. It's available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, iHeartRadio, wherever you want to find a podcast, it's there. But it's hosted on Podbean if you're curious to just listen to it on the web. I have it on the YouTube channel. Just search Bourbon Bites podcast. I promise you'll find it somewhere. But yeah, new episodes every Thursday morning around 6 a.m. Pacific is when they go live. Perfect time for your commute. They're short episodes. They're like 30 minutes or less usually. So I think I've been seeing some really positive things about them online. Actually, someone left a review that I want to give a quick shout out. Listen, reviews mean so much to me, not just for the channel, but for the podcast as well. Seeing thumbs up in the chat, by the way, make sure you hit a button, and just seeing positive comments across different platforms really encourages me to keep going. So I did want to give a shout out to this one review that came in last week. It is from Cast Iron Griller. They say the cure for the long-winded podcast scene. So like I said, these are shorter, so apparently this is the cure for the long-winded podcast scene. We're back in a landscape full of podcasts that run on endlessly. Bourbon Bites offers bourbon news and reviews with levity and brevity. I like that. Time is precious, so if you're looking for a podcast centered around bourbon and whiskey products and news with the side quest in gaming, I like that. This is a lighthearted, fun podcast that fits perfect on a short commute or an afternoon walk. Well, thank you so much for whoever left that review. That's a really nice review. That does mean a lot. So if you guys have the chance to leave a review on your favorite podcast platform, feel free to do it. You can leave it just a one sentence, or you can leave something long like that, or at least give me a good rating, because I've had a couple bad ratings on Apple Podcasts so far. Not enough to drag me down, but I'm sitting at a 4.7 out of 5. I'd like to get up there a little bit more, especially with this new season. Hopefully, I'm going to try to make it even better than last season. So that's my goal. But yeah, Bourbon Bites podcast, check it out every Thursday. All right, one last sip of the Screaming Titan before we move on to the Devil's Tower. All right, so question for the chat: do y'all prefer? Let's say you're talking about the same distillery. Like let's make it Heaven Hill. Do you prefer a wheated bourbon like Larceny or a rye bourbon like Elijah Craig? What's your go-to flavor profile? For me, it's almost exclusively the rye bourbon. It's just what I guess I was gonna say grew up on. That's not the right word. It's what I got used to as I was getting into whiskey. So that was my reasoning. But I do love a good high-proof wheater. By the way, if there's anything wrong with the video stream or audio stream, please let me know. I can't see my quality. The good thing about StreamYard is I can see my own quality, but here I can't. So I'm just hoping that everything looks and sounds good for you guys. Let me know if there's any audio issues or anything. Otherwise, I'm just going to sit here with no audio, and you guys are just going to be like, you can't hear me for the past 2 hours. Tony says he's never had a wheated bourbon. Tony, is that true? I don't know if I believe that. I know you had a lot of whiskey. I think you're just messing with us. But if not, dude, just grab Larceny. That's a good one. But I think you're messing with us. What? What do you mean, what? that I'm surprised? But Tony, you've had so much. I just feel like you've never had there's no way you haven't had a wheated bourbon. But maybe I'm wrong. Brandon says another stream idea, high-proof wheaters. Yeah, we could do a Larceny, we could do a Maker's Mark, we can pull in the Bernheim wheat whiskey. I have a couple of craft wheat whiskeys. There's one from Oregon Spirits, I think. I have quite a bit. So, okay. Tony's messing with us. He can't hear me. Okay. Don't make me nervous there. Doug said rye bourbons for sure. Wheaters are just an exploration. Agreed. Joe says Elijah Craig Toasted Rye is a sleeper. Very good for a low-proof rye. So, Joe, I actually just mentioned that last week on my podcast. They are actually re-releasing that. So it was a release a couple years back, but they're coming out with a new batch of the Toasted Rye. I'm excited to try it. The one thing I feel like I've missed is that toasted barrel-proof bourbon. Because I saw the label. They definitely exist. Some stores are doing picks of the barrel-proof Elijah Craig with a toasted barrel. And would love the chance to try that. I'm bombing here, folks. Don't worry, don't worry. Brandon says he'll add it to the list. Yeah, man, I'd love to have you on the channel. If you guys missed it this past Saturday, Brandon and I went live and we tasted through a Madness training. So I won't let y'all know how I did, but I felt a little more prepared than I did before the past Saturday. So thank you, Brandon, for being a part of that. All right, let's go to nose the rye bourbon, which is the Devil's Tower High Rye Bourbon. It's also a 5-year, and it's coming in at 49.5% ABV. So let me pull up their website to see what they have here. I love being able to read that. Is the Devil's Tower. Yep, High Rye Bourbon Whiskey Batch 2. Also part of the Small Lot series. I'm going to have to rename this stream the Small Lot series because I didn't realize these all were from the same category from Redwood Empire. This lot was only 53 barrels, so much less than the wheated bourbon. The mash bill is 2.5% malt, 44% rye, 51% corn, and 2.5% wheat. So it's still a 4-grain. It's got a lot of rye, 44% rye, 51% corn. So I think it's going to be a very rye-forward bourbon, and I do typically love that. Michael said that, fun fact number 3, the new distillery on Mare Island is only 15 minutes from my house. I'm considering visiting in a few weeks and seeing if they are hiring for tour guides. Oh, awesome, Michael. Well, if you do visit, feel free to drop them a link to this stream, and would love to have someone from the brand on the channel or have you on the channel to be a brand ambassador if your conversation goes well. Good luck to you. Joe said he passed on that for some dumb reason. I should have grabbed the Elijah Craig Toasted Cask Strength. I think Brandon, who's in the chat, saw one for like 130, 140 at a store, but he asked me about it. I'm like, yeah, that's so much higher. I thought we were going to see more of them, so I also passed on it. I think it's kind of a similar thing. It's like, do I wish I would have grabbed it now that I know that I still haven't found one? Yes, I would have overpaid for one bottle, but I thought it was going to be a more regular thing. I see so many of the barrel proof picks out here. They're coming down on price. I'm seeing them for $60, $65, which used to be $80, $90, $100. So I was like, okay, these are coming down on price, so maybe we're going to see more of the toasted barrel picks, but did not in my area, at least in Southern California where I am. You guys may have different experience where you are. By the way, let me know where you guys are in the chat, or if you're watching the replay, leave a comment down below if you've tried Redwood Empire and what your favorite release of theirs is. I know a lot of you guys watch these streams after the fact. That's why I like making them evergreen, so you guys can come anytime, even if it's 3 years down the line and you want to hear what I think about it. Definitely come leave a comment. I read every single one of them. I try to respond to as many as I can. So yeah, I'm a big fan of the community, and you guys know that. That's the whole reason we have our Discord server, which if you don't know, bourbonbites.com, there's a link to it. Everyone can join our whiskey and gaming lounge, but if you are a Bite Club / Patreon supporter, you get access to some fun things like our monthly movie night, our after party hangout right after every Thursday night live stream, and our monthly subscription tasting box that goes out to a very select few Bite Club members. All the info, bourbonbites.com. Okay, enough ads. Let's go ahead and nose the Devil's Tower. Okay, not as far off as I thought. It's surprisingly similar to the Screaming Titan. I guess that makes sense. It's the same age, just a different mash bill. You've replaced the wheat with the rye. I think the corn must just have such a similar flavor profile that I think maybe it's making the nose of both of them similar. I mean, corn is the main ingredient in both of these. I will say I still get that hay note on the nose. The kind of, but it's like that, but with more oak. It's more of like the barn filled with hay than less just like a hay pile, like I felt like the wheated one was. I'm sorry I'm enunciating. I just want the captions to not say weeded. It's wheated. Definitely more of like a oak backbone on that. I think that's shining through a bit more. Maybe some of those oak spices are showing up here. Could be from the rye mash bill. Yeah, definitely more interesting on the nose. Similar, but definitely more exciting. So let's go ahead and give a try to the Devil's Tower. Cheers. Okay, yeah. That's more up my alley. This is a nice spice, even though we're only talking about 1.5 proof points more, or not even that, 1.5% more. There's a lot more going on in this glass. That has got a bit of that minty sweetness that I love on a rye whiskey, but it's not overpowering. This is still a corn-forward bourbon. It's not a rye. but it has the mint element that I think really elevates it. Whereas I feel like I was getting like black tea on the wheated one. I'm getting like mint or chamomile or some kind of herbal tea on the Devil's Tower. Matthew says, interesting comparison similarities, especially since one is high wheat and the other is high rye. Exactly. I think it's the corn that's the similarity between the two. And that's what's giving that kind of hay grain quality to it, which I'm not always opposed to. Like I said, it is a craft note that I typically give a craft whiskey, but I've seen it in non-craft whiskeys or even like well-aged products. And if it's done right, it's actually really, really pleasant. So, yeah, I think I prefer the Devil's Tower over the Screaming Titan, but they're both very good. It just is a matter of personal preference. If you like a more wheated bourbon like a Maker's Mark or a Larceny, you're going to want the Screaming Titan. And if you like a more spicy rye forward bourbon like Elijah Craig, you're going to want the Devil's Tower. So that's my thoughts on those two. We have two more whiskeys to do, but before I move into that, I want to do a bit of a switcheroo with tech. So I mentioned at the top of the stream, I'm testing out two different streaming qualities tonight. So what we're doing right now, we're doing a 1440 stream at 30 frames per second, but I do want to try a 1080p stream at 60 frames per second. And you guys are I'm going to leave it up to you guys what we do moving forward. Are we going to do the higher frame rate, lower resolution, or higher resolution, lower frame rate? So let me do a little switcheroo right here. Give me 1 second. Let me know if you lose me completely. I will be back. I'm going to have to do a little stretchy right here. Come on. There we go. All right. There we go. All right. So hopefully you're seeing me at a higher frame rate now at 1080p. Let me know if you prefer this or you prefer the other one. Unfortunately, I can't do 1440 at 60. Aaron, my computer just doesn't quite do that. It can do 1080 at 60 or 1440 at 30. It actually might be my webcam's limitations in the computer. But yeah, so we're switching back to 60 frames per second at 1080p. So let me know what you guys prefer. All right, we're going to move into our rye whiskey tonight. The next one is the Van Duzen. I can't decide how you pronounce it. It's named after a tree, of course, like all the other ones. But this one is a small lot straight rye whiskey. Now, this is batch number 1 compared to the other batches. This one is a lot of 45 barrels, so even less than before. 67% rye, 31% malted barley, and 2% wheat. So this is back to a 3-grain whiskey. So Aaron says it only shows as 1440-60 on YouTube, but I think it looks better. I'm using a 4K monitor. So I actually streamed it in 1440 at 60, but my webcam can only go to 1440 at 30. It can do 1080p at 30. So I set it to 1440 at 60 so you can see the comparison here. So let me know if you like before or after. You guys don't have to get into the technical terms. Just leave a comment before or after, whichever quality you prefer. Would love to hear. All right, let's go ahead and pour the rye whiskey. It's 94 proof, 47% ABV. There doesn't seem to be an age statement on this one. I see 5 years was crossed out on this sample. But it does have a large portion of malted barley, right? 67% rye, 31% malted barley. Really curious to see how it's going to taste, especially because we're about to go into a single malt after this, so that's kind of fun. All right, let's nose the rye whiskey. Very different. Where the first two bourbons had a lot of similarities, mainly that grain corn quality. This one is bright up front, and I can tell that there's a chance that it may not be as old because rye whiskey can have more complex flavors at a lower proof, and I've always felt that way. It does smell a little young. I'm not gonna lie, it does smell a little young, but I've always appreciated a younger rye. So, I mean, of all of them, it's jumping out of the glass the most. It smells intense. It smells like I just want to drink it. So let me drink it. Let me give a tasting note, and let's see what we think. Cheers. It's a very tamed rye, I kind of want to say. I think that 31% malted barley is bringing down some of the spikiness and some of the really overly spicy notes on a rye, the ones that I typically love. It's mellowing it out a little bit. This kind of tastes more of like I mean, it kind of reminds me more of like a American single malt. It definitely has the right grain to it for sure. Like I'm not dismissing that, but the character and the body of it feel kind of like an American single malt. There's a little bit of a what do you call it? It's like a malted chocolate, malted milk ball kind of note there. I associate that with single malts. I get that a lot on American single malts. Oh, didn't even put the connection between a malted milk dud or milk ball and a malt whiskey. I know it's related, but I wasn't intending to make that comparison. But there we go. That just proves that I'm onto something here, maybe. um, I'm seeing people in the comments saying they can't see a difference. I know, Aaron, it looks like it's double the speed for you. So I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna watch the replay, and we're gonna see what I prefer, and then roll with that. That's gonna be my plan. So yeah, I'll go for a second sip of the Van Duzen. Yeah, I mean, and I see that Michael said there's no age statement on the bottle. Rye tends to do okay at a younger age. Agreed. I 100% agree with that. I think I would guess with this being a straight rye whiskey, it has to be at least, is it 2 or 3? I get confused. With rye whiskey, I think it's a little different than bourbon. I don't think it's a very old whiskey, but I think it's a fun mash bill with that much malted barley. I'm curious why they do 2% wheat. I wonder if it's just happens to be in there. They want to make it a 3 grain, or did that 2% wheat really do something? I would love to interview them and find out. Michael, if you go to the distillery, or Matthew, if you go to the distillery, let me know. Straight equals 2. Okay, thank you. Yeah, it's just like a mellowed out rye. It's not. It makes it feel older. I'll say that. The malted barley in this makes it feel like an older whiskey compared to the more rye forward ryes. Fun fact number 4: Pipe Dream was and could still be a 4 to 14-year-old blend. Interesting. Okay, yeah, those are the ones I've had. I've had the Pipe Dream. I've had the Emerald Giant, which is the rye, I think, and there was the other one that you guys mentioned earlier. I've had their base stuff, but I've never had any of this fun small lot releases, so I'm excited to try them here. That one was good. I still think so far, I think that the Devil's Tower was my favorite, but we got one more to go here. Then we're going to do a bit of a ranking and find out which one is my favorite Redwood Empire. So this last one has the best name of them all. Okay, I had to make sure I was spelling this right. It's Foggy Burl. Reminder, these are all named after trees in the Redwoods. Foggy Burl Single Malt Whiskey. Now this one has a 91-point score on Whiskey Advocate and a 95-point on Tasting Panel Magazine. A lot of 35 barrels, the smallest lot of them all. The mash bill is 100% malted barley, and the proof is 94 proof. So lowest proof, but oh no, not lowest proof. Same proof as the rye. They're both 94 proof. But a single malt. Now this one, I do not see an age statement on it. I'm not seeing it on the website either. It does say toasted and char number 3. I think these all use the same kind of barrel type. They're just, what they're experimenting with here isn't the barrels, it's the distillate, the different mash bills they're putting into it. Whether it's bourbon, whether it's rye, or it's a wheated bourbon, or a high rye bourbon. That's what they're experimenting with, which is fun. All right, let's give the Foggy Burl a nose. That just sounds so weird. Oh, okay. That one I think that needs to open up a little bit, kind of like I felt about the wheated one. The wheated bourbon, it opened up a bit, but it's such a subtle note. Going back to this one, it's still that grain, that hay, that dusty corn kind of note on that one. This one has something similar, but it's definitely more in the world of, obviously, barley. It's 100% barley. I will say, being 94 proof on the nose, there are some vapors that are coming out here that are kind of tickling my nose hairs a bit. Definitely more jumping out of the glass than the wheated bourbon. It's a little bit of a nutty kind of note. Maybe it's like nutty and oaky kind of, but not as oaky as the high rye bourbon. It's just more of like a salted roasted peanut or something. It smells really good though. kind of like, it makes me my mouth water a little bit. It's a little, I guess, savory on the nose, but let's see how it is on the palate. Cheers, y'all. Oh, interesting. Okay. Wow. Having a bit of like a interesting sorry, I was reading the comment. Interesting reaction to that one. That was really good. And the reason I'm surprised is it takes a lot for an American single malt to make me feel good about it. I think a lot of brands try and they just don't quite do as well as they think that they're doing. I'm not going to name names and stuff, but usually they're mostly misses versus hits for me. There are a few exceptions. I've done them on the channel, quite a few. This one kind of beat my expectations. Fred says, oh, they're experimental. I was wondering what differentiate these from the brown labels. Yeah, so they're called the small lot series. So this one was only 35 barrels that they did. And now some of these are batch number 2, so they had a previous batch. Is Clifton not familiar with burl wood? I thought he liked wood, but makes beautiful trim panels and so on. I am not. Is that what that's called? Okay. Foggy Burl. I am not familiar with burl wood. Let me Google burl wood. I do like my wood, but I've never encountered anything like that. A burl is a large, woody, rounded swelling usually found on the tree trunk. It's prized for its unusual grain pattern. And it's an expensive wood, more expensive than standard due to its rarity and unique, intricate grain patterns. All right. Yeah, now I know about burl wood, Fred. Artfully Bourbon is in the chat. Cheers, Scott. Good to see you here. Brandon says, I agree, too many craft single malts overcharged for what's in the glass. Agreed. Coin Sense and Nonsense says, hello to you. Love the lineup of Redwood Empire. Of the ones you're tasting, I prefer Devil's Tower. I did get a backup of Foggy Burl. Got lucky with Haystack Needle Bourbon and Rye recent releases. Awesome. Well, this is my first time trying them, and I'm definitely impressed with the Devil's Tower and Foggy Burl. Those, I mean, I think first impressions, those are the two that excite me the most. I'm gonna go for a second. I've only had one sip of this one. I go for a second sip of the Foggy Burl. Yeah. I mean, that's, you know what makes this interesting? Is it tastes like American whiskey. You know, I think a lot of time American single malt is maybe trying to do a little bit too much like a Scotch single malt. This still has the character of American whiskey. I mean, would I potentially guess that this is a wheated whiskey? Yeah, probably. It's very subtle with the flavor profile. It's very it has a lot of character to it, and it definitely has a nuttiness to it, but I don't know if I would immediately guess this as a single malt. So this is good for me to have ahead of Matt Madness tomorrow night. I wouldn't have guessed this as a single malt. That's actually a good note from me because, listen, I love Scotch. I love all the single malts, but American whiskey always has my heart. It's had my heart since the beginning, so. Yeah. I'm looking at the notes they have here on the palate. They say brownie sundae, forest floor, and molasses. You know, I don't get those first two. I know the forest floor note. I've definitely got it on a different whiskey. Do get the molasses. It's almost like a bitter chocolate. So I'm seeing like maybe that's what they're getting with the brownie sundae. To me, it's not a desserty chocolate. It's like a bitter chocolate mixed with like a thick molasses. It's like if you made a s'mores with like dark chocolate, and then instead of the marshmallow, you put like a little dab of like molasses on it. Oh, that sounds really good. And like a cinnamon graham cracker. Man, that I'm just making myself hungry tonight. But that does sound really good, and I think that's what this is reminding me of. Yeah, that's a fun one. That's surprisingly good. Now, what I want to know is, are they ever planning to release Foggy Burl at cask strength? Because this at cask strength, I think, would probably be my favorite American single malt. Just a guess based on how this is performing. Because that's really good. I think the only thing holding it back is that 94 proof, which I know people in the single malt world, proof isn't everything, and I agree with you. But with this still being so characteristically American whiskey, I do wish it had a little bit more proof on it. Fred said Stranahan's for the win. I don't know if that's sarcastic or for real. I've not really had their stuff before, or if I have, it's just been like a one-off. Matthew says he got to try Haystack Needle at the Bourbon Fest in New Orleans. Redwood Empire is getting into stride now. Awesome sauce. Oh, yeah, no, I agree, 100%. Fred said, dang sad I missed that. I only ever got a finished bourbon from that line once. Oh, from the Haystack line. The rye was better than the bourbon. Went back for second bottle. Super lucky. Oh, and Michael clarifies, I have the batch number 1 of the Foggy Burl. Awesome. Yeah, I think this is, they're on batch 2 now, but I'm on batch number 1. Well, either way, that's really good. I mean, it's hard to pick a favorite because I think that's so unique and it's so uniquely American. That sounds so weird to say, but it's like, it doesn't taste like a single malt, it tastes like an American whiskey, and I think that's a good thing. However, as much as I like it, let me go back and taste the 2 bourbons that we had at the top. Of course, if you missed it, is the Screaming Titan, which is the wheated one, and then it is the Devil's Tower. Again, Screaming Titan falls flat for me because I look for spice, or at least a little bit of like that, I don't know what you call it, that like, that note in a whiskey that makes you go, ooh. And I don't get that in the Screaming Titan, even though it's called that. But Devil's Tower, with that rye spice, I think it gives me exactly what I'm looking for, flavor-wise. Now, Screaming Titan in a old-fashioned, I will say I love using a wheated bourbon in an old-fashioned. Maker's Mark for the longest time was my old-fashioned whiskey. I think that's a great use for that one. Now, pricing, do we know the pricing? Are these all around the same price? I didn't want to ask. I probably should have looked it up. Oh, there's a little buy now button. Interesting. Okay, so the Foggy Burl is $100 on their website. It is available still right now, by the way. The Van Duzen is $80, also still available. The Devil's Tower is $80, also still available. And the Screaming Titan is $80. So they're all $80. They're all available on the Redwood Empire website. The most expensive is the Foggy Burl, which is $100, which I think is fair because I think it's unique. It's what's the most unique out of what they're putting out. Like, yes, anyone can make a bourbon or a rye, but to be able to be daring enough to make an American single malt, to me that takes courage, and I think that's what they're that's why that's a little bit higher price, I think. Michael said, I'll ask about the cask strength. Might be a possibility with the increase of capacity at their new location. Would love to hear that. For real, Stranahan's some of the best American single malt. Okay, I couldn't tell, Fred. Like, the way your comment was worded, I was like, is he joking or not? I don't know. Fred, I argue that Westland is the best American single malt. They are up there for me as well. Matthew says he added ice to Devil's Tower and it literally turned into a cola. Okay, I like that. Yeah. I mean, I didn't really say it, but I think I have a favorite. It's Devil's Tower. It's just a really solid bourbon. One, it's a fun bottle. I mean, again, look at the thumbnails of these. They are so unique looking. It's so different because it's not like your typical Kentucky bourbon. It's like I don't want to say novelty is not the word. It's just unique. And I think being unique is always risky. You're like, oh, do I grab a bottle from this distillery? Now, us as whiskey people have heard of Redwood Empire. We've been following it for years. But someone else might see it and it's like, okay, another crappy California whiskey. Because trust me, there are a lot of crappy California whiskeys. No offense. I love living out here, but in terms of like American whiskey, it's very, very hit or miss. So finding a brand like this that does it well, has a really cool story, does good for the environment by donating trees for every bottle sold. I mean, it's hard to complain about it, honestly. It's really just really good whiskey, a great brand, relatively good distribution, at least out here in Southern California, and decent price. So, I mean, that's my first impressions of this. Prescription Bourbon's in the house. Cheers. Taste and Sensibility says, the legacy distilleries have not been great at single malt. There are a dozen great single malts from places that have done it for years. Westland, Stranahan's, Delback. I'm not familiar with that one. Balcones. Yeah. I think that's the thing. I mean, no offense. I love Jim Beam, but their Claremont Steep was almost undrinkable for me. I'm sorry. I love Jim Beam, but their single malt wasn't it. Same with the Bullet. The Bullet one, I know it was MGP they were sourcing from, but even that one, I was like, I still have a bottle that I'm trying to like slowly get rid of. But yeah, so not the biggest fan of those, but that's a great point Doug makes, is like the ones that have been doing it for a while are actually starting to excel at it. Josh Fritz in the house. Cheers. Good to you. It's good to see you. Distilled grain to glass in Sonoma 8-year rye. Oh, okay. Is that what are we talking about the Are y'all talking about the bottle for? I'm getting a little lost in the chat, but it's okay. I think I'm at a point where I'm gonna wrap up here. Thank you guys for testing out tech with me. Again, feel free to let me know if you like the before at the higher resolution but lower frame rate, or the lower frame rate at higher resolution. You can leave a comment after the fact too. It should still show up on the recorded stream. My favorite, absolutely, the Devil's Tower High Rye Bourbon. My second favorite has to go to that Foggy Burl Single Malt. I think I will actually look into buying a bottle of both of those. That's how much I really like them. The other two just aren't quite my favorite, but I think everyone has a different palate, and everyone's going to find something they like in each of these. So that's how I feel. Tony says Redwood has very good distribution as far as I've seen on hunting videos. Nice. Yeah, I'm glad to hear that. It's not just California. So let me know if you guys try more Redwood Empire Whiskey. Come back to this video, leave a comment, let me know what you thought of it. Let me know if there's a new release that comes out that you guys want me to try, because I'm always keeping an eye out. I don't keep up with every new release. So if you see something exciting that you want to try, just leave a comment on this video. Again, thank you all for watching. If you've not yet subscribed, it does mean a ton to the channel. I've been uploading a lot of shorts lately to YouTube because they're bringing in some new people. So if you're new from the shorts, say hello. I appreciate you coming in. But if you're not yet subscribed, you can even do it on your TV. All you gotta do is press the up button, scroll over to my channel name, click it, and click subscribe. You can subscribe to the channel that way. Or if you're on your phone, your computer, should be relatively simple. But if you need any help, let me know. You can also join our Discord server at bourbonbites.com. There's a link to it there. Buy some merch, support the channel, leave a tip, whatever you guys want to do. But most importantly, I enjoy spending my Thursday nights with you. Have a great evening. Have a great weekend. I will not be live next Thursday. I will be doing a, like I said, we're going to Las Vegas for vacation a bit, but I will have a podcast episode. So keep an eye out for that. Bourbon Bites podcast, wherever you get your podcast, follow the podcast there. New episodes every Thursday morning at around 6 a.m. Pacific time to be your perfect commute short podcast. So cheers. Thank you all again. I'll see you in a couple weeks, but I'll talk to you between either on Discord or on the Hangout. So, all right, cheers.